Yeah, hello again. This is David from the True Blue Sand blog, and I thought today we'd look at the difference between tearing down to clean your Mark III, and that would go for Mark II and the earlier ones too. Mark III Ruger 22 long rifle pistol and the Mark IV. These have been out several years now. When these first came out, I thought, well, who needs that? You know, I could get along fine with the old one, but this new one is a lot easier to clean, and I enjoy it. Now, a lot of people have trouble tearing these down, and you don't have to tear them down every time. Ruger tells you that if you talk to them. You can take these grip panels off. I like to hose. You can hose those out with a good cleaner like PB Blaster. Blow it out with compressed air, let it drip dry for a few hours, and you know it's good to go. There's enough oil in a product like PB Blaster to leave it lubed. You need to pull a rag through the bore, of course, but you don't have to tear it down every time. But if you want to tear it down, you got to know the steps. And this one is still intact. It has the magazine safety in it, so you have to use a magazine, an empty magazine, while you're working on it. While we're talking, let's open that one up. You don't need a magazine when you're tearing this one down, but you do on this one. So what we're going to do, we can see it's empty. I'm going to drop the bolt and have to insert the empty magazine. Now the empty magazine in is I can drop the hammer. There's a hammer in here, and I like to pull that bolt back off of the, there we go, and let the pressure off of the mainspring. Your spring for your hammer is in here. So next we're going to pop that back. Your next step after you do that is to remove the spring for the hammer. So use some kind of a tool. We're going to drop the magazine out. Now the hammer is down, and you see on the back of the grip there's a little lever. Pop that lever back, pull this up, and then you pull this down. And on a new pistol, that can be really hard to do. A hammer is a real handy thing to have when you're tearing apart one of these Ruger Marks. So we'll see if we can pull that out of there. It doesn't want to pull. There, knock that down a bit. There, that pulled out. On a brand new gun, that is really hard to pull out of there. It will be tight. So lay it down. That is your spring that powers the hammer. Now the next step is to knock the gun apart. So there we go. Just tap on that and it comes apart. And there you can see the inside guts of the pistol. And to clean that, you're going to take your PB Blaster and hit that with PB Blaster and wash that out. It's good to take an old toothbrush. You can kind of knock that stuff loose. I'm going to go hose that out. I'll be right back. Anyway, got that hosed out, and if you got an air compressor, go blow that out, put on your safety glasses, blow that out. Now this is your hammer back here, and that hammer will not go forward now because the magazine is out of it. It has a magazine safety, so that hammer came back, it won't. And you see on the bottom of the hammer, you'll see a little strut. That goes in the top of that hammer spring that we just took out. I'm going to just set that upside down, let that drip dry a little bit. And then on this part, now that's the part the bolt pulls out. And you can take your toothbrush. I'm going to pause this and get a phone call. And we're back. That was just a little phone call there. Okay. See, the front of the bolt has a bunch of dirt on it. We just went through a class and used this gun real hard. Take a toothbrush, kind of knock the dirt off. Knock the dirt off under there. Dirt there, dirt there. And I'm going to go give that a little wash with the PB blaster. There we go, got that. And then of course this is your receiver, and you can see there's crud in there. It's not too bad, but this is a good time to hit that and spray a little bit down the bore. I'm going to step out and do that. Okay, I poured a little bit down the bore. I've got a cleaning rag on here. Reach in here, kind of mop out some of the grunge inside there. Oh, come on out there. And rather than use a cleaning rod on the barrel, I like to use a snake. Grab one of my snakes here out of my kit. And we're going to run that snake in there. There we go. Got that snake started in there. One pass through, there we go. Okay, that barrel's clean. Now we're just going to wipe it off. If you use compressed air on this, make sure you wrap that scope up good so you don't get oil blown all over your scope. Make your lenses hard to see through. Okay, get that wiped off. Wipe off that bolt. Drop the bolt back in. You see there we go. Come on. There we go. Bolts back in. I think this kind of mop off the excess there. Okay, now we're going to want that hammer forward. With the hammer back, you can't get that spring hook back in right. So we're going to put well, we don't need to put that in yet, I guess. But I'm going to go ahead and put the magazine in. And you can see there's the hammer. And with the magazine in, then I can pull the trigger. And that should fall forward. There we go. That hammer falls forward. And this strut can get caught in here. The strut is what causes people to have trouble. But okay, now this goes back together. Let me see here. And drop that mag back out of there. Here, we'll put that hammer back. We'll drop that again. There, now this goes like that. Take your mallet or your hammer handle, put it together like that. Now we've got to get that strut forward. got to get the hammer forward. So we put that back in, pull the trigger, and the hammer, you can see the hammer fall forward. You can look right in there and see the hammer fall forward. Drop that magazine back out. And this goes back up in there. Take your hammer handle, tap, tap, tap. That goes in. It didn't quite go up all the way. There we go. You can see that comes through. That hammer fell back, so I gotta do that. Now you tip it up so that hammer strut falls back. This is the part where it can fail real easy, because that hammer strut can sometimes, you know, there we go. Now, the trick is, will it work? No, see, the hammer strut did not go in there. See, it jams. So you gotta flip that open again. Flip that open. Tip that back. Oh, it still didn't, the hammer strut's not coming back. So, yeah, this is the part that it drives people nuts. But just be patient with it. Get this open again. And that hammer strut is caught in there. And it ought to just fall right back. It does not always. I got to pick it up over my head. There. I see the hammer strut's falling back in there now. I saw the hammer strut fall back. So then I close this, flip that up, and that should work now. Well, it didn't quite catch it. And do it again. I think I got it that time. Yep. It is working now. Drop that magazine out. Okay. Got that back together. Now we're going to just wipe it off good. Okay, that is a Mark III. Now, the Mark IV, this is a lot easier to work on. Okay, on your Mark IV, you're going to drop the bolt. Okay, that is, the action is cocked now. You bring that back, drop that, the action is cocked. When it's cocked, put your gun on safe. And you press this button back here at the back end of the action. Press that button and tip it up. And the barrel comes off. And there you see the inside of your action, and it's got a bunch of grunge in there. Give it a light brushing. I'm going to step out of the picture here and hose that out. Anyway, got that hosed out. You either blow it out with compressed air or just set it where it can drip dry for a few minutes. And then you can pull the bolt out of there. The bolt comes out. You see a little bit of dirt on it. Not too bad. Not too bad. This just went through one class. Had a few hundred rounds run through it. Just wipe that dirt off. It's not got a lot of dirt in there. It's not too bad. You kind of wipe out some of the dirt. It's not bad. I'm going to give a little shot of blaster down the tube on that one. Okay, put a little bit of PB blaster down the barrel on that. Now we're going to put our snake, run our snake down the barrel. Run our snake down the barrel, pull that through. Chamber's clean, barrel's clean. Put the snake back in the cleaning kit. Wipe this off. And you can use your favorite lube and or cleaner that you like. I use a special mix. I use Marvel Mystery Oil, mineral spirits, and isopropyl alcohol. And the isopropyl alcohol is so I can put that on a rag and it will mop off fingerprints. It'll lift salty fingerprints. The isopropyl and the mineral spirits evaporate, leaving behind a thin coat of my favorite oil. Okay, now mop that out a little bit. Okay, and you hook that back together, guide that pin in, and you can just snap it shut, or I like to push the button to help it get shut. Oops, it popped out. There we go. That is back together. That works. There we go. That is all done except for the wiping off. Wipe off all your excess. And that gun is ready to go hunting again or ready for its next class. It takes less time. These Mark IIIs, they take a bit of time when that strut won't cooperate with you. But that's a fine pistol. We enjoy shooting that pistol, and people do well with it. Okie doke. That's the difference between tearing down and reassembling a Mark III and a Mark IV. And one of the things you keep in mind when you go to a gun shop, go look at the used stuff right away. They always have a few displays of used long guns and handguns, and a lot of people have traded in their Mark IIIs to get a Mark IV because they don't like messing with these. Well, it's not that hard to put together if you understand what you're doing, and you can pick up a used Mark III in good condition cheaper than you can buy a Mark IV. So there's that. Once you learn to take it apart, it's not that hard to do. You don't even have to take it apart that often. Hose it out with some cleaner once or twice a year and oil the bolt where it runs and clean the barrel, and then you're good to go again. So, don't be intimidated by that teardown process. You may not ever have to tear it down if you just hose it out once in a while. And so, anyway, thank you very much for visiting, and